Some people say the show must go on, but what happens when it can't? There are performers who gave everything to the stage, literally. They took their final breath doing what they loved most, in front of a crowd that didn't even realize what had just happened. Some deaths were poetic, others were so brutal and shocking, the audience thought it was part of the act. Today, we're diving into 15 real stories of actors, musicians, and performers who died live on stage, from theatrical legends to unexpected modern tragedies. And the most chilling part, in some cases, the show really did go on. Dick Shawn. The audience thought he was joking. Dick Shawn was a seasoned actor and comedian, best known for his role in The Producers. In 1987, he was on stage in San Diego performing his one-man show. Midway through the set, he made a joke about politicians, took a dramatic step forward, and collapsed. The audience burst out laughing. They waited. Minutes passed. People started to shift in their seats. Some still believed it was part of the act, but Dick Shawn wasn't moving. Eventually, a stagehand came out and dropped the illusion. He wasn't acting. He had suffered a fatal heart attack. The show never finished. The audience left in stunned silence. And suddenly, that line between performance and reality became terrifyingly thin. Tommy Cooper, the final punchline. In 1984, British comedian Tommy Cooper was performing live on national television. Known for his bumbling stage persona and chaotic magic tricks, the audience was in stitches as always. But during one bit, Cooper collapsed backward right in front of the curtain. The audience roared with laughter, assuming it was part of the routine. Even the host didn't realize what had happened. For several long minutes, Cooper lay motionless as cameras rolled, and viewers at home watched live. Only after the commercial break did stagehands pull the curtain shut. But by then, Tommy Cooper was already gone, dead from a massive heart attack. And the most tragic irony? He died doing exactly what he loved, making people laugh. But as we'll see, not every death was met with applause. Mark Sandman. The moment the music stopped, Mark Sandman, frontman of the band Morphine, was mid-set during a 1999 concert in Italy. The crowd was vibing to his deep baritone voice and laid-back jazz rock style. But suddenly Mark stumbled, dropped to his knees, and collapsed. There was no scream, no chaos, just confusion. At first, fans assumed it was part of the act, some moody, dramatic moment. But as seconds passed, it became clear something was wrong. Despite immediate attempts to revive him, Mark Sandman was pronounced dead right there on stage. Cardiac arrest, out of nowhere. He was 46, and in that moment, thousands of fans went from cheering to witnessing a real-life tragedy. Joanna Garcia, the pyro that went wrong. She was young, energetic, and a rising star in Spain's dance scene. Joanna Garcia, the lead performer of the Super Hollywood Orchestra, electrified crowds with flashy choreography and high-powered stage effects. But in 2019, during a concert in front of 1,000 people, a pyrotechnic device misfired. A capsule meant to explode in the air detonated right next to her. She dropped instantly. Despite medics rushing in, Joanna died within moments. She was only 30, and tragically, she's not the only one who died in the middle of a performance that turned deadly. Costa Titch, when the beat suddenly stopped. He was one of South Africa's fastest rising stars, rapper, dancer, and viral sensation. In 2023, during his performance at the Ultra Music Festival in Johannesburg, Costa was full of energy, bouncing across the stage. Then, he collapsed. Security rushed in, helped him to his feet. He shook it off, smiled. But moments later, he collapsed again, this time for good. The crowd was stunned. No one understood what had just happened. And just like that, the party turned into a nightmare. He was only 28. No pyrotechnics, no warning. Just a performer whose light burned out far too soon. Juan Formel, a collapse that stunned New York. In 2023, Cuban bassist Juan Formel was playing with the Grammy-nominated band Los Van Van at a sold-out New York City concert. As he performed, he suddenly slumped over his instrument and collapsed. The crowd gasped. Bandmates rushed to his side, but it was too late. Formel had suffered a fatal heart attack, live on stage. His family later said he'd been feeling off that day, but insisted on performing, because for him, the music always came first. And in a way, that devotion became his final encore. Dimebag Darrell, gunned down mid-performance. He was one of metal's most iconic guitarists, best known from the legendary band Pantera. On December 8, 2004, during a show with his new band Damage Plan, Dimebag Darrell was just a few riffs into the opening song when a man stormed the stage in Columbus, Ohio, and opened fire. Fans thought it was part of the act, but within seconds, chaos erupted. Dimebag was fatally wounded in front of hundreds of people. The attacker was stopped by a heroic police officer, but not before others were hurt. Dimebag died doing what he loved, but the way it happened sent shockwaves through the music world. Security at live shows was never the same again. Red Fox, the joke that turned real. He made millions laugh with Sanford and Son, always pretending to clutch his chest and cry out, "I'm coming, Elizabeth." But in 1991, while filming his new sitcom, The Royal Family, Red Fox suddenly collapsed during rehearsal. The crew laughed. They thought it was just another one of his classic fake heart attacks. But this time, it was real. He died shortly after, age 68. The cruel irony? He died acting out the exact thing he had been joking about for decades. Steve Irwin. The ocean took its own known as the crocodile hunter. Steve Irwin was beloved worldwide for his fearless love of animals and infectious energy. In 2006, while filming a documentary segment on the Great Barrier Reef, Steve swam above a stingray. Without warning, the animal struck. Its barb pierced his chest. Even in his final moments, Steve reportedly told his crew to keep filming, to stay focused on the wildlife. He didn't die on a traditional stage. But for Steve Irwin, the wild was always his stage. His death stunned the world and left a legacy that still educates and inspires millions. Sarah Guillard Guio, the fall no one expected Las Vegas, is known for glitz, spectacle, and danger. But in 2013, tragedy struck Cirque du Soleil's show Ka, a performance known for its daring aerial choreography. Sarah Guillard Guio, a seasoned acrobat and mother of two, was being hoisted 90 feet into the air when her harness failed. She fell in front of a packed audience. Gasps turned to screams. The show stopped instantly. She was rushed backstage, but it was too late. Sarah became the first performer to ever die during a Cirque du Soleil show. And for months, the company was shaken to its core. They say the stage is a place of magic, but sometimes even magic has limits. Owen Hart, a stunt that should never have happened. He was known as the Blue Blazer, a fan favorite in the world of professional wrestling. In 1999, during WWE's Over the Edge pay-per-view event, Owen Hart was set to make a grand entrance from the rafters, descending by harness. But the stunt went horribly wrong. The release mechanism triggered too early. Owen plunged over 70 feet and hit the ring ropes chest first in front of a live audience of thousands. The show went on, but Owen didn't. Though cameras cut away, everyone watching knew something had gone terribly, terribly wrong. And the most controversial part? WWE continued the event, sparking outrage that still lingers to this day. This wasn't a performance gone wrong. This was a failure that could have been avoided. Leslie Harvey, killed by his own microphone. In 1972, Scottish guitarist Leslie Harvey, member of the blues rock band Stone the Crows, stepped up to his microphone at a venue in Swansea, but something was off. The microphone hadn't been properly grounded. As soon as his lips touched it, an electric current surged through his body. He collapsed immediately. Attempts to revive him failed. He was just 27. Fans were horrified. One moment he was tuning his guitar, next he was gone. And even now, his death serves as a chilling reminder that not all stage dangers are visible. Colonel Bruce Hampton, a final note of irony. In 2017, the legendary jam band pioneer Colonel Bruce Hampton was celebrating his 70th birthday with a massive concert in Atlanta. Dozens of musicians joined him on stage. As the night climaxed, a young guitarist began a solo. Hampton knelt beside him, dramatically encouraging the moment. Then he lay back and didn't move. The crowd cheered. The band kept playing. They thought it was just Bruce being Bruce. His shows were always full of weird, wonderful chaos. But after the final note, he still hadn't moved. That's when they realized he had died, right there on stage, during his own tribute concert. A life devoted to live music, an exit in perfect rhythm. Christina Grimmie, a final song silenced too soon. She rose to fame on YouTube, then captivated millions on The Voice with her powerhouse vocals and girl-next-door charm. By 2016, Christina Grimmie was on the brink of major stardom. But one night, after performing at a small venue in Orlando, everything changed. She had just finished her set and was meeting fans, hugging, signing autographs. smiling. Then, without warning, a man from the crowd stepped forward and the rest was chaos. Security rushed in, but it was already too late. Christina was rushed to the hospital, but she didn't make it. She was just 22. And the most heartbreaking part? She died doing what she loved, surrounded by the people who adored her. Her fans never heard her sing live again, but her voice still echoes across the internet. Tiny Tim, the ukulele, fell silent. He was strange, he was unforgettable, and he was absolutely beloved. Tiny Tim, with his falsetto voice and ever-present ukulele, became a pop culture icon in the late 60s with his haunting version of Tiptoe Through the Tulips. In 1996, during a benefit concert in Minneapolis, he got up to perform one final song. Halfway through Tiptoe, he suddenly looked pale, told his wife he wasn't feeling well, and collapsed mid-performance. The crowd thought it was part of the show at first. His performances often had eccentric theatrics, but it wasn't an act. Tiny Tim had suffered a massive heart attack. He died that night at age 64. A man who never quite fit into any category, but exited the world the same way he lived, on his own terms, in front of a crowd, singing his song. From magicians and comedians to classical musicians, acrobats and rappers, these 15 stories show us that the stage doesn't care who you are or how prepared you feel. Some went out in silence, others in chaos, but they all share one thing in common. They died doing what they loved most. It's tragic, it's haunting, but also strangely poetic. And if you thought these stories were intense, just wait. Because in part 2, we'll talk about performers who knew they might not survive and still walked on stage. A man who cracked jokes with his final breath. A music legend who gave one last performance. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2. It's even more unbelievable.